Hi everyone, it's Jerry. Let's have a look at a game that was played at the 2005 Linares tournament. On the white end, Michael Adams, and he's playing against Garry Kasparov. This is a nice, dynamic game. Open Sicilian Najdorf. English attack. This is a 26-move game. We're going to have on board a race position, an opposite sides castles position. In these opposite sides castles positions, I think some of the better moves you'll find are ones that combine both attack with defense. We're going to see at least a couple instances of this by Kasparov in this game, and I think it's these very moves that go a long way towards his attack arriving first. All right, we continue with e6. Black has a small pawn center. Bishop e2. Queen c7, an important move. Queen c7. This move, I should say, it should precede b5 if you're running in with b5 too soon. Bishop f3, and black would experience a problem along this diagonal. So first, queen c7, and only after the queen is on c7 do we have b5. Bishop f3. In this case, no problems. Bishop b7, the bishop is defended. The diagonal is secure. Okay, white secures the knight post. Black increases the pressure on e4. That's defended now. Where do we go from here? Move 10. Can you spot Kasparov's next move? Feel free to pause the video. Okay, he goes with knight c6. Black already has an eye on what exactly? A pawn break. Black knows white is going queenside. That is the idea with this English attack. To castle queenside, and then launch the G and H pawns, attacking the knight along the way, and in the end, creating contact with G6, creating this fork idea. And by hitting with G6, some file will be cracked open for a white rook. Okay. Continuing, we have queenside castles, and black gets on with it straight away. B4. There's a way you could go wrong, as black right here. Might be a tempting move. Rook c8 is a way to go wrong. Seems logical enough, half open file opposite the king, but you have to be aware of this tactic by white, where you give up the minor piece and get these three pawns. This is an excellent position for white. So, b4 on board, it would not be the same now. You're not capturing a pawn when you go to b5. And plus, black right around the corner is ready to smash open white's kingside with b takes a. Okay, in this game, a takes b, knight takes b. Black has an open file, more than one open file towards the king. White still needs to work to get that open file, so here we go. G4, bishop e7, g5, only one option for the knight. In this game it goes to d7, that's best. If you go to the edge, you're asking for f4. There's a problem there. So knight d7, h4. What is black's next move here? Wonder if you can spot it. Feel free to pause the video. Okay, instructive moment right here, I feel. His move is knight c5. So at the start, when I was talking about moves that combine both attack and defense, this is one of the moves I had in mind. Knight c5. In what way is it combining attack with the defense? Well, there's two different checks available. I'm not saying either of them are good right now, but it's an aggressive move. It has some offensive ideas. It also coordinates with the knight on b4. There might be something fancy happening on the d3 square in some cases. In what way does it fulfill a defensive role? By going to c5. It watches over e6. It tames, in a way, the knight on d4. Black knows that this idea is coming, and e6 is going to soon be undermined. So there's a piece now there supporting e6. Additionally, it prevents some idea of maybe white inviting the f-pawn into the mix. Whether it is on f6 or c5, there would be two pieces on e4, so it's interfering with this idea by white. One of the ways I've gone wrong in a similar position to this one is to improve the knight by going to e5 or b6, with the idea to hop into the c4 square. Normally it's a very appealing square for the knight to go to. Let's see why that's bad. Let's say black goes for this plan. Let's say king b1, knight c4, takes. What's the big problem? Well, this is hitting. These two look invasive, but there isn't any other black piece involved right now, and this is hitting really, really fast. And this queen is soon going to have to be the one to babysit e6. That's not a good role for the queen to have. So this is an excellent position for white. Black has to take this idea into account and does so on this move 15. Important defensive role, watching over e6. Okay, from here, king b1 gets out of any knight checks. King goes to a light square, knights are on dark. There's no checks by the knights. All right, from here, rook b8. The king was out of the pin. With king to b1 is getting out of the pin on the c file, but now black is saying, hang on. This pawn, however indirect, is now pinned. Okay, in comes h5, white castles, and g6. So, another pop quiz, what move would you play in this position as black? Things are definitely heating up now, tension on board. What do you do? Okay, the move played in the game is best, bishop f6. This takes advantage of the weakness, you could say, of white's last move. f6 is no longer under control. And like this knight c5 move, this is the other one that combines both attack with defense. Clearly, it's on the main diagonal, coordinating really well, however indirect, on that b2 square, the heart of white's kingside. What defensive role does it have? Well, if this g-file opens up, and it seems quite likely that it will, it's there to watch over g7. Now, why is this move right here considered best? We could consider a different move, such as bishop to a8, in order for this rook to see the world. What's the problem here? Well, h6 can hit, creating even more tension on the black side, on the black king side. And black is not in time to make the following moves. After takes on g6, takes on g7, this bishop is not in a position to recapture on g7, and it wants to be in position to recapture on g7. King takes is no good in this position. You're asking for trouble. Bishop h6. So this moment here, move 18, bishop f6, is taking into account this idea of h6. If h6 is played here, black can take on g6 with the f-pawn, opening up major pieces to help defend along the 7th rank, if need be. And if white takes on g7, black simply goes back like this. Things are cool. In fact, this rook has been helped out with this pawn sacrifice idea by white. So, bishop f6 on this move 18. Rook on d to g1. Now bishop to a8, getting out of the the rook's way. Bishop g5. So this is where it's already pretty tricky for white to come up with a best move. Computer likes this one and rook to g4, but after the reply bishop to e5 in this game, the suggestion by the engine as best is for the bishop to go back where it came from. So you're really not making a whole lot of progress playing in this way as white. What is considered best for white instead of this move is rook to g4. Now this is definitely a computerish line that I'm going to be highlighting here. Best play if rook g4 is played is d5. You ready for this? I did not see this one coming at all when that move was being suggested. After d5, e5. Bishop takes pawn, and you ready? Knight d to b5. Okay. When this move was played, my mind was only on, oh, you're ready to simply form a battery and do something on g7. No, we're seeing a case where this rook can have some lateral influence. Anyhow, that's definitely a tough one to come up with. And again, there's no guarantee black has to go with a move like d5, but anyhow, computer line to be sure. In this game, bishop g5 seems, this is definitely the more human move to go with, because this guy right here I would probably assess to be the best piece in the game. On the main diagonal, pointing at b2, coordinating with the rook. It needs to be tamed. So black recognizes this bishop is way too good. Let's not exchange. Bishop e5. And from here, white captures on h7. So what do you do here? My first thought was you hide behind the pawn, but you could actually take the pawn. And that's what black plays, because there's still this guy you can hide behind. So if h6 here, black would make sure the h-file does not open. He'd go with g6. In this game, the knight goes back to b3. Black has a winning position here. It's actually quite difficult to even suggest a good move for white here. For example, if you try to get rid of this bishop, you're going to lose a piece. Instead of the move played in the game, knight b3, if you try this one, black could take the knight and then land a fork. So if bishop to e3, you could play queen to b6, and now this knight is ready to move, and there's going to be mate in one thread on b2. So what do? In this game, white is trying to neutralize the pressure along this b file, but now runs into this tactic, knight takes c2. Undermines the support of the b3 knight. Knight takes, knight follows, and black says, you're going to have to work a little bit harder to track down my knight, because now this pawn is officially pinned. So he flicks in first, knight a3 check. King a2, only now picks up the knight. And what do you do from here? In the game, knight a4 is played. If you're capturing the knight, we're just exchanging knights. The queen is hit. In comes rook b2. This is over for white. In this game, knight a4. And can you spot Kasparov's 25th move? Feel free to pause the video. Okay, very flashy and best. Knight c2. Very, very pretty move. Knight c2. This cuts off one of the two defenders of b2. The queen isn't seeing b2 now. And black is saying, if you want to take my queen, you have no defense of b2, and you'll get mated. So, what do you do here? In the game, king b1 is played. Final move of this one, queen a3. White resigns. Taking advantage yet again of the pinned b2 pawn. b2 is now hit for a third time, and there's just no defense. So you could try maybe queen takes knight, but after rook f to c8, what do you do as white? If you block with the bishop here, the queen would be overloaded. You could take the bishop, and then after rook takes b2, it's going to be mate soon enough. Any other try in this position, let's say queen d2, black could take a timeout to simply get the piece back. Black is in this position up a pawn, but still this attack is present. b2 is collapsing. This one is officially over in this position. So this one goes no further after queen a3. White simply throws in the towel. So anyhow, feel free, as usual, to leave any feedback to this video in the comments section below. I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe took a thing or two away. That's all for now. Take care.